Hello and welcome to your 24/7 radio station, Global News Radio. Hello and welcome to your 24/7 radio station, Global News Radio. This is AI Global News, the first fully automated 24/7 AI news radio station. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2026. Thanks for being here. We are starting with the latest headlines and a few quick curiosities. A Ramageddon has come for Microsoft's Surface Pro and Surface Laptop. The report adds that Microsoft just raised the prices across its line of Surface devices amid the global RAM shortage. Now, the 13-inch Surface Pro 11 and the 13.8-inch Surface Laptop 7 cost $500 more than their original starting price, going from $999 to $1,499, as reported earlier by Windows Central. Last year, Microsoft stopped selling the $999 versions. We finally have democracy. Hungarians erupt in joy and relief. According to the report, many Hungarians, exhausted by a struggling economy and worried about a move away from the European Union, were jubilant after Prime Minister Viktor Orbán conceded. Some had wondered if he would. Motorola's souped-up folding phone is almost half off. The report adds that Amazon has the Razr Ultra marked down by $600 for a limited time. OpenAI boss Sam Altman's home targeted with Molotov cocktail. The report adds that San Francisco police have arrested a 20-year-old suspect after a perimeter gate was set alight. Bongbong Marcos fights ill health rumors with star jumps. According to the report, the Philippine president challenged anyone questioning his fitness to join him in the gym. Woman fined £40 for £4,000 sale of fake Oasis tickets. Here is a little more context. Rosie Slater is also handed a 12-month community order after making £4,000 from fraudulent sales. Irish PM dodges potential St. Patrick's Day bruises at Trump meeting. Here is what is being reported. BBC News NI political editor Enda McLafferty looks at how Michael Martin fared against Donald Trump during their St. Patrick's Day meeting. Flight path data shows how mosquitoes target humans. In more detail, scientists have quantified what draws mosquitoes to people, which could help make better, life-saving bug traps. Hack at Onodot leaves over a dozen breached companies facing extortion. In more detail, the data breach at Onodot, which affects customers like Rockstar Games, is the latest hack aimed at stealing data from a large number of corporate giants. Shock from Iran war has Trump's vision for U.S. energy dominance flailing. In more detail, record domestic oil and gas production hasn't saved U.S. drivers from price spikes. How to watch the Artemis II landing. Here is the detail behind it. After leaving Earth on NASA's Super Heavy Lift SLS rocket and spending 9 days in space, the most dangerous part of the Artemis II mission still lies ahead. NASA spent months investigating and determined the craft was safe to fly, but Artemis II will take a more gradual approach back to Earth in hopes of reducing its exposure to excess heat. Still, this is the first time in 53 years that NASA will need to guide a human crew back from the moon. After its history-making trip around the moon, NASA's Artemis II mission is set to return to Earth later today. Netanyahu says war with Iran is not yet over. Here is a little more context. In a televised address, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel sought to placate critics at home who say the war failed to achieve its goals. IBM settles its DEI lawsuit with the DOJ for $17 million. In more detail, IBM denied any wrongdoing and said the settlement wasn't an admission of liability, while the U.S. government said this conclusion wasn't a concession that its claims weren't well-founded, according to the settlement agreement. According to the DOJ, IBM had violated the Civil Rights Act of 1964 with practices that included altering interview criteria based on race or sex, developing race and sex demographic goals for business units, using a diversity modifier that tied bonus compensation to achieving demographic targets and more. An IBM spokesperson told Engadget in an email that the company is pleased to have resolved this matter, adding that our workforce strategy is driven by a single principle: having the right people with the right skills that our clients depend on. According to Todd Blanche, the agency's acting attorney general, this action is one of the first resolutions to come out of the Civil Rights Fraud Initiative, which was launched in May 2025. What happens when a nuclear site is hit? In more detail, as strikes continue on Iran's nuclear facilities, the real danger isn't the explosion, but what happens if critical safety systems fail, and how that risk could spread across the Gulf. Katya Adler, jubilation in Budapest will be felt in Europe but leaves Moscow cold. Here is the broader picture. European leaders share Hungarians' joy over the ousting of Vladimir Putin's EU ally, writes the BBC's Europe editor. Who can I vote for in my area? In the latest development, elections are taking place across the country in May. Use our postcode lookup to find out if there are elections where you live and who you can vote for. The next Attorney General will probably be an election denier. The report says that Pam Bondi's DOJ left election deniers frothing for more. Potential candidates for the Attorney General job could give them what they want. How J.D. Vance tried and failed to end the war in Iran that he opposed. Here is a little more context. Vice President J.D. Vance led the highest-level talks between the United States and Iran in nearly 50 years. OpenAI pauses UK data center deal over energy costs and regulation. The report says that the project was part of a package of tech investment promising the UK could become an AI superpower. Eric Swalwell will resign from Congress as he faces backlash over assault allegations. Here is the broader picture. Swalwell's resignation follows allegations of sexual assault and misconduct made by multiple women against the California Democrat. Lebanon enters talks with Israel but with no cards to play. Here is a little more context. The Lebanese government go into peace talks with limited influence over the group. Trump says U.S. will blockade Iranian ports after peace talks fail. According to the report, on Sunday, President Trump said the U.S. would blockade the Strait of Hormuz after negotiations between the U.S. and Iran broke down over the weekend. Why the May 7th elections matter. In the latest development, BBC's Chris Mason explains what's at stake in the upcoming elections across the UK. Greens win by-election to replace jailed councillor. In the latest development, the by-election was called after the Cliftonville Division's serving councillor was jailed for coercive behavior. Measles takes a plane to Idaho, which has worst vaccination rate in U.S. The report adds that in the 2024 to 2025 school year, only 78.5% of kindergartners had measles vaccination. More details are available on the website. We will be back with more headlines shortly. We'll be back with more updates soon. Hello and welcome to your 24/7 radio station, Global News Radio. This is